My brother Liam had just gotten married, and for his honeymoon, he had this grand idea to take the entire family on a beach vacation. I tried to warn my parents. The weather's been weird lately, storms, typhoons. We shouldn't be heading to the coast right now. But they brushed me off. You're just being cheap, they said, accusing me of not wanting to chip in for the trip. They were determined to go, no matter what I said. So, we went. Against my better judgment, we all packed up and headed to the beach. And then, of course, disaster struck. A massive typhoon barreled in, bringing violent thunderstorms that shook the entire coastline. It wasn't long before supplies started running low, and someone had to brave the storm to get more. That someone was me. They pushed me out into the chaos, the wind nearly knocking me off my feet as rain lashed against my face. I fought the storm, but it was too much. I never made it back. I perished out there, lost to the storm's fury. But then, something strange happened. I woke up. Not in the storm, but back in time. Right at the moment, Liam first asked me to help pay for that beach vacation. Chapter 1. My brother Liam hadn't even finished community college when he married Sasha, a mean girl. Now, Liam was holding Mom's hand, asking for money to fund their honeymoon at the beach. Mom, everyone else goes overseas for their honeymoon. I'm just asking for a beach trip, what's the big deal? Mom exchanged a look with Dad and then turned to me. The weight of unspoken expectation hung in the air as she said, Linda, this is Liam's wedding. You're going to help, right? I closed the news app on my phone, the memory of being struck by lightning in my last life still fresh in my body. The phantom pain lingered as a constant reminder. Without missing a beat, I said, Of course. I'm all for supporting Liam. Sasha, lounging on the couch with a plate of fruit, barely looked up from her snack. She grinned and asked, But didn't you say there was a typhoon warning? You were against us going to the beach. I forced a smile, waving it off. Oh, I was just being paranoid. Now that I think about it, a beach honeymoon is super romantic. If you don't go, it's like you're not really in love, right? You have to go. And don't worry about the money, I'll cover it. Think of it as my wedding gift. Liam smirked, clearly pleased with himself. About time. Your money's basically mine anyway. It's only fair you spend it on me. You're lucky I'm even letting you come along. I glanced around. Mom and Dad didn't care. They were too busy fawning over Sasha, who was now pregnant, making sure she had everything she needed. Not a single person cared how I felt about any of this. From the moment I was born a girl, no less my parents despised me. They even cursed me to have a short life. But Liam? He was there. Precious son. The one carrying all their hopes and dreams. Growing up, I slept on the balcony while Liam had his own room. I survived on financial aid in college while Liam whined about having too many toys. And after I started working, every penny I earned became family money. I even paid for Liam's wedding, but there wasn't a single seat for me at the wedding. To them, my sacrifices were nothing. They were parasites, feeding off me, and I was too worn down to fight back. In my last life, when the storm hit, they were indifferent to whether I survived or perished. Sasha was browsing hotels on her phone while Mom peeked over her shoulder, her eyes wide at the prices. Good grief, these places are expensive. Why don't we just sleep in the car? Sasha snorted and rolled her eyes. Who cares? It's not your money. Linda's paying, right? Mom quickly nodded. Of course, of course. I mean, after all, we raised her, didn't we? She owes us. Sasha grinned and held up her phone. How about this villa? It's got great views, and it's a private house. 2 bedrooms for us and your parents. Linda, you can crash on the couch, right? I didn't even blink. Sure. Couch is fine. In my last life, I had suggested staying at a hotel so there would be help nearby if anything went wrong. They mocked me for being cheap, and we ended up staying in a fancy villa in the middle of nowhere. This time, I wasn't going to argue. The villa was luxurious, no doubt, but it was isolated miles from any help. Let's see how well they handle things when disaster strikes. When it was time to leave, I made an excuse about urgent work at the office, telling them to head off without me. Liam, who couldn't even drive, had to call a taxi. He was furious as he stormed out. Lazy as always. You just wasted more money on a cab. Make sure you pay me back for the ride. I watched him strut off, dressed head to toe in clothes I'd bought, every expense meticulously reimbursed through me. An adult who relied entirely on me for everything and still had the nerve to yell at his biggest benefactor. What a joke! As soon as they left, I booked a room at a reliable chain hotel online. Then, I ordered a life jacket and an insulated suit to protect me from the storm. I also stocked up on bottled water, canned food, and other essentials, everything I could think of to survive what I knew was coming. I placed my orders online and asked the hotel concierge to accept the deliveries. Worried about potential illness and power outages, I also bought plenty of medicine and backup batteries. When the deliveries arrived, the hotel concierge helped me haul everything up to my room. I felt a bit guilty and tipped him generously. I also gave him a word of advice. You might want to prepare. The storm that's coming? It's going to be bad. He looked at me curiously. Thanks for the heads up. But if you're so sure the storm's going to be that serious, why come here at all? I smiled, my heart darkening with the weight of past betrayals. Oh, if I don't go, my family would be upset. And besides, if I'm not there, how could I watch them suffer up close? Chapter 2. I'd done my homework on this hotel. It was safe, up to code, and probably the best place to weather the storm. When I arrived, I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. The room was just as I'd arranged, fully stocked with food, medicine, and every supply I might need. The hotel wasn't exactly bustling with activity. The concierge mentioned that most of the guests had checked out after seeing the storm warnings on the news. Only a few people had decided to stay. Apparently, I was one of the rare ones who had actually chosen this moment to come. I sighed inwardly. It wasn't like I wanted to be here in the middle of a storm, but it's hard to save people who are determined to walk straight into danger. The villa my family was staying at was a good distance away, and as we drove, the scenery grew emptier. Houses disappeared, leaving behind sprawling fields. Then, in the distance, the villa appeared isolated and lonely, like a tiny island surrounded by nothing. The taxi driver glanced back at me, concern in his voice. Miss, why would you stay in a place like this? When the typhoon hits, these open areas will be the first to get wrecked. I gave him a polite smile and thanked him, but there was no use explaining. No one in my family ever listened to me. As soon as I stepped into the villa, Mom was already barking orders. Linda, get those dishes washed and take out the trash, it's starting to stink. I looked over at the courtyard and saw a heap of garbage piled up, leftover takeout containers, crumpled napkins, and even used toilet paper. The humidity had turned the place into a hotbed of foul smells. It was so bad I could barely stand near it. It had only been a day, and the place already looked like a dump. And of course, they were just waiting for me to clean it up. Was I really supposed to spend my whole life picking up after them? I swallowed my irritation and forced a smile. I'll deal with it tomorrow. Liam, looking like he was about to hit the town, had his arm wrapped around Sasha as they headed out the door. Without even glancing at me, he shoved his phone in my face, showing me a payment request. Here's the bill for the cab and all the food deliveries. Transfer the money now. I just stared at him, speechless. Liam had been pampered his whole life, and now he was basically a man-child. Sasha didn't even seem embarrassed. In fact, she chimed in, making things worse. If we had our own car, we wouldn't have to waste money on taxis. And we wouldn't have to deal with rude drivers. Yesterday, one of them actually told us we were crazy for vacationing in the middle of a typhoon. Liam's face darkened at the memory, and he turned to me with that same entitled tone. I need a car. Buy me one. You'll get to use it too, so it's not like it's just for me. I almost laughed out loud. Liam, do you even remember that you don't have a driver's license? And let's be real, once I bought the car, it wouldn't be ours. It would be yours, just like everything else I've ever paid for in this family. Honestly, it was almost impressive how selfish and clueless he was. Mom and Dad really raised a fool. At that point, Mom decided to weigh in, backing Liam up like she always did. Linda, you should really help your brother out more. You can't just think about yourself. She glanced at Liam, and then gave me that familiar look of expectation. You know, I think that BMW looks perfect for him. Just buy it for him. One day, when you're older, Liam will remember how you took care of him. That's what family's all about, isn't it? In my past life, I used to believe Mom was the person I was closest to in this family. Not because she treated me well, but because she and I were always the ones taking the brunt of the abuse. I watched Dad beat her when he was drunk. I saw Liam insult her whenever Sasha was upset. I thought that meant Mom understood what I was going through, that we were on the same side. But I was wrong. When I was thrown out of the villa in the middle of a storm, Mom was right there, doing nothing. She stood by, crying, as I begged for help, but in the end, she didn't lift a finger. Her daughter's life meant nothing to her. She was a victim, and she was a murderer. I used to feel sorry for her. Now, I just feel cold anger. And this time, she'll have to live with the consequences of the choices she's made. I nodded without hesitation, my voice calm, almost detached. Sure, Mom. When we get back from vacation, I'll buy Liam the BMW, no problem. Liam, pleased with himself, let out a smug little snort. With Sasha clinging to his arm, he strutted out like he'd just won a prize. Meanwhile, Dad, who'd been sitting on the couch nursing a drink, suddenly flared up. He'd had too much. His temper was already simmering, and now it boiled over. His eyes narrowed at Mom, and before I knew it, he was on his feet, swinging a fist in her direction. Mom screamed, her voice laced with panic. Linda! Help! Your father's going to hit me again. In the past, I would have rushed over without a second thought. I used to throw myself between them, shielding her from the blows, even if it meant getting hurt myself. I couldn't stand to see her suffer. But now, I see things clearly. Mom's misery was her choice. If she truly wanted out, she could have left Dad years ago. She could have saved herself. But she didn't. And I wasn't about to be her shield anymore. I shrugged and said coldly, You've been putting up with his punches for years, Mom. You're used to it by now. What are you crying about? His punches aren't going to harm you anyway. Those were the exact words she'd thrown at me in my past life when she shoved me out into the storm. Linda, you'll be fine. What are you crying about? A little rain won't harm you. But it wasn't the rain that harmed me. It was the lightning strike that hit me right outside the door she'd locked behind me. How does it feel now, Mom, hearing your own words come back to you? As Dad's fist connected and the fight escalated, she glanced at me with tears running down her face, her voice shaking with fury. I raised you. And this is how you repay me. You're nothing but an ungrateful bastard. I didn't bother answering. I just turned and walked back to my room, shutting the door behind me. Without me there to smooth things over, I doubt they'd last more than a few days. The storm was coming, and with it, the chaos that would sweep through this entire region. The real nightmare hadn't even begun. Chapter 3. That morning, the sky was thick with clouds, a dreary gray pressing down on everything like a weight that wouldn't lift. Liam woke up in a foul mood. Unbelievable. I had plans today. Now it looks like it's gonna rain. How the hell am I supposed to go out in this? Sasha, already glued to her phone, raised an eyebrow at the typhoon alert flashing on the screen. She turned to me, her voice tinged with concern. Hey, this storm warning looks pretty serious. You think it's safe to go out? I rolled my eyes. The alert was practically screaming disaster, but I said, Please, as long as we've got an umbrella, we'll be fine. People don't just drop dead from a bit of rain. Mom shot a nervous glance at Liam, her voice full of worry. Liam, you've got to be careful. Sasha's carrying our family's future. You can't just take risks like this, not with the baby on the way. But in our family, no one really listened to her. Besides me, Mom is at the bottom of the pecking order. True to form, Liam shrugged off her concerns and headed out with Sasha right behind him. Not long after, the skies opened up. The rain came down in sheets, and off in the distance, you could see the storm brewing over the ocean, slowly gaining strength. The sky darkened so quickly that it felt like night had fallen out of nowhere. My parents, who'd never seen anything like this before, were completely freaked out. They holed up in their bedroom, and from the safety of their hiding spot, they started to blame me for everything. "This is all your fault. You're the one who told them to go out, and now look, they're not back yet. If something happens to them, it's on you. If anything happens to Liam, I won't let you go with it." I was about to lose my patience when the front door finally creaked open, and in stumbled Liam and Sasha, soaked to the bone, looking like they'd just been fished out of a river. "We need a shower now," Liam muttered, his voice dripping with annoyance. But when they tried to turn on the faucet, nothing happened. No water. No lights. The entire villa had gone dead. Sasha, shivering, grabbed a towel and started drying herself off. She was furious. "This villa is a joke. No hot water? What if I catch a cold? What if it affects the baby?" She seemed to have conveniently forgotten that she'd been the one who'd insisted on choosing this villa in the first place. Who was she going to blame for that? "And whose fault is that, huh?" she snapped, turning on me. "If you'd just agreed to spend a little more, we wouldn't be stuck living in this dump." There it was. According to Sasha, everything was always my fault. I kept my cool and tried to reassure her. "Don't worry. The rain will stop soon, and the power will come back on. It's just a matter of time." But Liam wasn't in the mood for comforting words. Without a word, he hurled his phone at me, the thing smacking against my chest before falling to the floor. "What's going on? Why won't anyone pick up my food delivery order?" I sighed. Well, no surprise there. Who's gonna want to deliver food in this kind of weather? Honestly, Sasha and Liam were still thinking about going out for fun, as if the torrential rain wasn't a big deal. Rubbing the sore spot on my face where Liam's phone had hit me earlier, I tried to stay calm. "Did either of you bother to check the pantry? There's enough food in here to whip up something ourselves." That got their attention. They darted off to the kitchen, rummaging through cabinets like they'd never thought of cooking before. Soon enough, they found some bread and some canned goods. Liam picked up a can, squinting at the label in disgust. "This is dog food. You expect us to eat this?" I shrugged. "What's the big deal? It's not like eating dog food is going to harm you." That evening, the 5 of us polished off almost half the bread. Sasha and Liam acted like they'd been starved for days, shoveling down most of the bread without even glancing at the cans. By the second day, maybe the third, the bread started dwindling. By the fourth, there was nothing left. Liam, unable to hold out any longer, finally gave in and cracked open a can of dog food. He hesitated for just a moment before he took a bite and then, without a second thought, finished the whole thing. He even licked the can clean like a starving dog. Then, as if it were the most normal thing in the world, he used the empty can to collect rainwater. I didn't drink any of it. I wasn't that desperate. I'd seen enough news stories about people getting sick from drinking rainwater during floods. The last thing I needed was to end up with dysentery. In a situation like this, diarrhea could be fatal. By the 5th day, Sasha's patience finally snapped. She clutched her stomach, tears welling in her eyes. "I can't take this anymore. My stomach hurts so much. My poor baby, I can handle being hungry, but not him. It's too cruel to make him suffer like this." Liam rushed to her side, holding her like she was about to collapse. Together, they put on quite a dramatic show. "She needs food. Real food," Liam said, his voice shaking with concern. "We can't keep eating this junk. She's not getting any nutrition. I just want some meat." Sasha whined, her voice barely above a whisper. Linda, please, go out and get us some. I'm begging you. The mere mention of meat had all of us salivating, but I wasn't about to volunteer for a suicide mission. The storm outside was raging, with thunder rumbling and lightning flashing across the sky like something out of a nightmare. Are you serious? You want me to go out there in that? I said, pointing toward the window where the rain was coming down in sheets. I could get struck by lightning. You're asking me to risk my life just because you're craving meat? My words were met with silence. Mom and Dad didn't even look at me. You'll be fine. Mom said flatly, as if the storm was just a minor inconvenience. Dad gave me a look that sent a chill down my spine. It was the kind of look that said he didn't care if I came back or not. Before I could protest again, Liam shoved me toward the door. The wind roared outside, and the occasional flash of lightning lit up the entire room, casting eerie shadows across the walls. I grabbed onto the doorframe, trying to resist, but it was no use. They weren't going to let me off the hook. The moment I stepped outside, I was hit by a wall of water. The rain was so heavy I could barely see a few feet in front of me. The water was already up to my calves, and the wind was howling, making it hard to stay upright. As soon as I was out, the door slammed shut behind me, the lock clicking into place. I stood there for a moment, drenched and shivering, before pulling out my phone. I quickly checked the security camera feed inside the villa. Liam was sitting with Sasha, looking far too pleased with himself. You were right, he said, grinning. Getting rid of Linda was the best idea. Now we don't have to share our food with that bastard. Mom sighed in relief. We've taken care of her for so long. At least she's finally doing something useful. It doesn't matter to me if she doesn't make it back. I froze, the wind whipping around me, but I no longer felt the cold. Their words cut deeper than any storm could. So that was their plan all along, wasn't it? They never intended for me to come back. They'd sent me out with the expectation that I wouldn't survive, plain and simple. Even if I somehow managed to get the meat, they wouldn't let me in. They'd just leave me out here to rot. The last time this happened, I was naive. I thought if I returned with the meat, they'd let me back in. I begged and pleaded, but no one opened the door. In the end, I was struck by lightning. Even the meat I'd sacrificed so much for fell into the floodwaters, a cruel joke. But this time, I knew better. I picked up the backpack I'd stashed under the raised platform outside. Inside were all the supplies I'd prepared in advance: a life jacket, insulated clothing, even some basic survival gear. I wasn't going to risk my life for them. As I suited up, I glanced back at the villa one last time. From now on, I was walking to my new life. They could stay in that hell they'd created for themselves. Chapter 4. The security cameras had been installed by the owner of this rental villa, supposedly to keep an eye on guests, making sure no one trashed the place. Since I was the one who paid for the stay, the owner gave me access to the footage and promised I could delete it once I left, in case I didn't want anyone snooping around. So now, here I was, lying on a soft, cozy bed, listening to the relentless storm outside. My phone screen glowed in the dark as I watched the live feed from the cameras. Honestly, I was loving every second of it. On the screen, Mom looked a lot thinner than before. She glanced nervously at the others: Liam, Dad, and Sasha, all of whom still looked relatively okay. It was clear that something had clicked in her head. You're hiding food, aren't you? Her voice quivered, a mix of fear and accusation. Liam said nothing, but Dad quickly stepped in, blocking her path as she tried to lunge at them, her desperation plain as day. He raised a fist, his voice low but threatening. Hiding food? You should be grateful you've been getting anything at all. You think you can ask for more? Mom's eyes filled with tears. Those crumbs you gave me weren't enough. Are you trying to starve me? You want me to end, is that it? Liam finally let out a cold laugh. Do you think we're living large over here? We're eating leftover takeout scraps. And guess what? I paid for that food, so don't even think about touching it. And didn't you always say takeout was unsanitary? Sasha piped up, her voice laced with mock concern. You should probably skip it, Mom. Exactly. Sasha added, rubbing her belly with exaggerated care. I'm the one carrying your precious grandchild, remember? I need nutrients. You can afford to eat a little less. Mom looked around the room, desperate for anyone to defend her, but no one said a word. The truth was, I'd been the only one who ever cared enough to take her side. And she had thrown me out without a second thought. Now, she was completely alone. She let out a pitiful sob. You're all turning against me. If only I hadn't let Linda leave. Spare me. Liam growled, his voice dripping with bitterness. If it weren't for her, we wouldn't be stuck in this mess. I couldn't help but laugh to myself. How many times had I sacrificed for Liam? I can still remember when he wanted that brand new iPhone in high school. He'd begged for it, and I, wanting to spare him the embarrassment of being the only kid without one, ate instant noodles for 2 months just to save enough to buy it for him. Meanwhile, I was still using the cheap phone I'd bought back in college. I'd spent hours tutoring him when he was preparing for his university exams, even though he'd constantly complained that I was too controlling. I never asked for much in return, just a bit of appreciation. But even that was too much to hope for. Liam had become a spoiled brat, completely self-absorbed and entitled. He thought everything should revolve around him, that the world owed him something. And the worst part? The rest of the family had gone along with it, treating me like the villain whenever things didn't go their way. Well, if they wanted a villain, maybe it was time I finally played the part. I pulled out my phone and sent Liam a message. Attached was a photo of me sitting in my hotel room, savoring a plate of beef. It didn't take long for my phone to buzz with an incoming call. As soon as I answered, Liam's voice came through, thick with jealousy and rage. Linda! Where the hell are you? I stretched, lazily glancing at the food in front of me. Oh, I'm just relaxing at a nice hotel. Bet you didn't expect me to still be alive, huh? His anger boiled over. You selfish witch. Don't you care that your parents are starving over here? You need to get back here and help us now. I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. It was like he genuinely believed I owed them something. That my own survival didn't matter in the slightest. Why should I risk my life to come back for you? I asked, my voice steady. Wasn't it you who pushed me out, hoping I wouldn't survive out there? And now that you see I'm doing better than you suddenly want me to come back and save you. Sorry, but the world doesn't work that way. There was a long pause, and I could almost hear the panic setting in. Then Sasha's voice came through, sweet and syrupy, as she took the phone from him. Linda sis, don't be like that. We're family, right? You wouldn't just leave us here, would you? When things get better, we'll never forget what you did for us. My little boy will grow up knowing how much you sacrificed. I couldn't help but snort. Family? Please. I'd sooner believe in flying pigs than trust you to remember anything I've done for you. And besides, how are you so sure it's even a boy? It's only been a few months. What if it's a girl? I'd love to see how you're treated then. Sasha's sweet tone vanished in an instant, replaced by pure venom. How dare you curse me, you witch? I laughed again. Curse you? I'm just telling the truth. At that moment, Mom must have grabbed the phone. Her voice was shaky, filled with desperation. Linda, sweetheart, it's Mom. I'm starving. You're the kindest one in this family, and you're always so thoughtful. Please, come and save me. There was silence on the other end. I knew they were all holding their breath, waiting for my response. I let the silence hang for a few moments, just long enough to make them sweat. Then I spoke. Well, my beef is getting cold, so I'd better go finish it while it's still hot. You all enjoy your meals too, okay? Stay safe. And with that, I hung up. Outside, the storm raged on, thunder cracking, lightning flashing more frequently now. Even the hotel was starting to flood, but I wasn't worried. I was on one of the higher floors, safely out of reach. I took a sip of clean, hot water, watching the chaos unfold through the window. They might be hungry now, but soon enough, they'd face something worse. Drinking rainwater wasn't something safe, and I couldn't wait to see the look on their faces when the consequences hit them. Chapter 5. Every meal, I sent Liam a photo. Occasionally, if I watched a good movie, I'd share it with him too. The tension on Liam's side was palpable. Over the past few days, first Mom and Dad, then Sasha, and finally Liam himself, had all come down with severe diarrhea, but with the water system still down, there was no way to flush the toilet. So, the four of them, huddled in the attic, had to endure the stench in the confined space. It was like a relay race, each of them taking turns running to the bathroom, dehydrating more and more with each trip. Sasha, who used to pride herself on her perfect makeup, now couldn't bear it anymore. Especially knowing that while they suffered, I was dining on gourmet meals and watching movies. Her jealousy festered, and she cursed. That little witch is probably laughing her head off right now. We should have kept her here to suffer with us. She shot a glare at Liam. This is all your fault. Why insist on a beach honeymoon? Now look where it's gotten us. Liam, unaccustomed to being blamed, slapped her across the face. I should be blaming you. How dare you talk back to me? Have I spoiled you so much that you've forgotten your place? Glare at me again, I dare you. Sasha, shocked that Liam had hit her, clutched her cheek and sobbed. I must have been blind to marry a beast like you. Sasha wasn't well educated, she was a mean girl Liam met at a factory near his school. Initially, I tried to warn her, urging her to reconsider marrying into our family. But she twisted my words, telling Liam I didn't want them to marry, which enraged him. Sasha even mocked me, calling me a jealous old maid. Now, seeing their predicament, I could only think they deserved it. On the other side, Dad, who hadn't experienced hunger in years, was now weak and pale from diarrhea. He was too exhausted to argue or shout and even showed signs of hypoglycemia. Mom tried to take care of him, but when Dad finally passed out, his large, bloated body revealed itself to be nothing more than a paper tiger. Damn you, Linda! Watching your father faint and not coming to help, do you have no conscience? Mom wailed. I should never have come along. Now we're all going to die here. Why isn't Linda coming to save us? Aren't we her family? It's all my fault for letting her turn into this. Mom's rambling infuriated Liam, who shoved her, causing her to fall hard to the ground. You old hag, what's the point of whining about Linda? She's your daughter. And a useless one at that, letting her own family suffer. She's just like you, an old fool. Liam's eyes suddenly gleamed with a sinister light as he glared down at Mom. If we don't find a way to make her come back, we'll really die here. Chapter 6. Linda and Mom are close. If Mom gets hurt, Linda will definitely come to save her. Liam's plan was sound, but I no longer clung to the illusion of motherly love. Mom, however, didn't hesitate to agree. Yes, Linda always cries when I get hit. She wouldn't want me to suffer. She's just mad we kicked her out. If we coax her a bit, she'll forgive us. Mom still didn't get it. My anger had long since burned out, replaced by a cold indifference. I had lost all hope in these so-called family members. I learned early on that kindness gets you stepped on. A family should be a warm harbor, but mine was a stormy sea. Any gentleness I showed was seen as a weakness to exploit. I had to grovel just to get by. This was the environment my parents provided. So now, no matter how much they hurt, I wouldn't care. After all, they taught me to always look out for myself. Mom and Liam concocted their plan. Mom pretended to faint beside Dad. Liam took a photo and called me with the last bit of battery power. Linda, Mom's passed out from the stress. She's in bad shape. You need to come back and save her. I watched the security feed, seeing them huddled around the phone, waiting anxiously. I laughed and said, Mom isn't passed out because of me. It's from drinking dirty rainwater. You're all probably infected. Liam clutched his stomach, looking unwell, while Sasha screamed. Mom! Mom! She's really fainted. Linda, Dad's still hitting her. He's going to kill her if you don't come back. Sasha gave Mom a knowing look, and Mom started wailing dramatically. If I hadn't seen the footage, I might have believed she was being beaten to death. Fine. If Mom dies, make sure to clean up the body. In this weather, a rotting corpse will make things worse. It's already stinking in there, isn't it? I hung up, watching them rage on the other side. I sent another photo of my meal. Liam's eyes were murderous, as if he could kill me through the screen. Sasha and Mom, terrified of Liam, edged away from him. Their fear of Liam now outweighed their hatred for me. But even that didn't save them from Liam's rage. Mom, still trying to protect her grandchild, clung to Sasha, pleading with Liam not to hurt her. Mom was truly a loyal dog to the Lin family. But there's no loyalty without a price. Sasha, desperate to escape, pushed Mom away and clung to Liam's leg. Stop it! Linda's just angry. She won't really let Mom die. She probably doesn't think it's serious. If Mom dies, she'll definitely come. Liam sneered. That witch told us to clean up the body. Do you think she cares about Mom? She's dead to us. Don't be stupid. If those two old geezers die, we'll have to deal with the disease that comes with it. Liam's eyes gleamed with malice. He had taken my words seriously. Mom and Dad were severely dehydrated and lacked clean drinking water. Liam and Sasha were only holding on thanks to their youth. If Mom and Dad died, their bodies would quickly become a health hazard. Liam had no gratitude, only annoyance at their suffering. He opened the attic door, dragging Mom toward it. She realized what was happening and fought back. What are you doing? I'm your mother. Liam laughed maniacally. You're my mother, so you should sacrifice yourself for me. Didn't you say you'd kill for me? Now kill yourself for me. Mom froze, finally seeing her beloved son for what he was. Sasha gave her a hard shove, and Mom tumbled outside. Dad, unconscious, was dragged out like dead weight. Damn it, he's so heavy. Must have been stealing food. Dad groaned in pain, but Liam didn't care. Liam shut the door, ignoring Mom's pleas. I regret pushing Linda out. She whispered. Too late for regrets. Liam sneered, closing the door. Yes, too late for regrets. Letting your favorite child end your life. How fitting. Chapter 7. Mom and Dad knocked on the attic door for a long time, but it never opened. Mom stayed by Dad's side, occasionally hearing him curse his ungrateful children. But hunger and thirst soon wore them down. Mom, afraid of the water, stayed at the edge, hoping to catch a rat to eat. One day, some soggy paper bags floated in. Mom eagerly grabbed them, only to find them filled with soaked takeout leftovers. Without hesitation, she started eating. Dad, somehow finding strength, crawled over and slapped her. You bitch, stealing food from me? I'll kill you. He tore the bag from her hands and devoured the contents, collapsing immediately afterward. Mom was horrified. Dad's last burst of energy had been his death throes. She was next. Mom screamed, but Liam's voice from inside silenced her. Shut up. If you're gonna die, just die already. If you can't stand it, go join him. Mom reflexively stopped, but her eyes burned with hatred. After a while, she gathered the remaining scraps and knocked on the attic door. Liam, annoyed, shouted. What now? I'm not letting you in. Keep knocking, and I'll throw you into the water. Mom quickly said. No, I found food. You must be starving. Liam opened the door immediately, grabbing the bag without looking at Mom. Mom smiled. Don't worry, there's more. My grandchild needs to eat too. Sasha, now a skeletal figure with a swollen belly, looked terrifying. Mom picked out a mushy piece, gently feeding Sasha. Eat up, my dear. Soon, you won't be hungry anymore. Liam, finished with his share, grabbed Mom, demanding. Where's the rest? Where'd you find this? Mom laughed manically. You want more? There's rat poison in it. How does it taste? Liam was in disbelief. Behind him, Sasha began to cough violently, trying to vomit. You witch! I have your grandchild in me. Mom replied. I'm saving you. Better to die now than live in this hell. Liam, now furious, kicked Mom, but they both fell, bleeding from their noses and vomiting uncontrollably. Mom! Liam reached out weakly before collapsing. Mom held him, comforting him as he died. I watched, unmoved. They were each other's hell. I was just glad I escaped. After their deaths, the storm ended. I left the hotel and handed the footage to the police. The case was closed as a murder-suicide. I inherited everything, free from abuse. I sold what I could and traveled the world with the money. The past wouldn't haunt me. It would only make me stronger. After escaping hell, everywhere is paradise.